Welcome to this review of Monstroscopy, a brand new fighting game that released last year in, quite frankly, a market that is very satiated. So, if you want to have a look at a brand new fighting game, could Monstroscopy be the one for you? Let's figure it out. First, thanks to Keymailer and Seashell Studios for providing me a review copy to actually make this video and also get some content out of this. Monstroscopy is a 2D fighting game. Like I said, fighting games are very hard to break through because there are so many very familiar faces. So to start something new in the genre is quite bold, and you gotta commend Seashell Studios and the developers for actually trying to do this. But the question is, did they do a good job? Well, first things first, I want to talk about one thing that I do not like about this game, just so I can have it out of the way. There is a film grain in this game that is just a bit too much. And I understand they've done it for the aesthetic vibes, because it's supposed to be 1950s horror movie vibe, and it has that. But extended play in this game is a little bit weary on the eyes. Perhaps that's just being spoiled, but technology has moved on in the last 70 years, so perhaps they should have toned it down just a little bit. But that's also what the criticism ends. Because Monstroscopy is one thing that a fighting game absolutely has to be in order to be even remotely fun, and that is balanced. Now, Monstroscopy prides itself as being quite easy to pick up. You have 3 basic attacks, you have 3 special attacks, and you can combine these to make some fun combos. And I'm not the greatest at fighting games. I like them, I love playing them. But one thing I really struggle at is doing combos, and I managed to get a few out of this. So yeah, they've done a really good job in making it very accessible. The other thing when it comes to making sure the gameplay is fun is making sure all the characters are balanced. And from all the characters that I've both faced and played as, yeah, it is balanced. It's very well balanced. None of the characters really feel like they're overpowered, none of the characters feel underpowered. They all seem very viable. And that is something that even the big names can't really achieve. Now, I could say that this is down to the small size of 16 characters, but quite honestly, there are fighting games with less than 16 characters who still struggle with this. So massive props to the balancing, because it's spot on. Now, another thing a fighting game needs is a identity. Because like I said, there are very established names when it comes to Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash Bros, Mortal Kombat. You can see the game and you know which one it is. That's the identity that they've built up since the 90s. It's so hard to break through in that. And you can't do that with just another run-of-the-hill fighting game. You need something unique, you need something special, you need something recognizable. And Monstroscopy does that as well. Every single one of these 16 characters could very well be from a horror movie or a horror series, either be the protagonist or the antagonist or the monster the movie is about. All of them are done really well. We have wrestling, vampires. I already love wrestling, so it already got me on that. There are werewolves, normal vampires, zombies, weird beast-like creatures. All of them look really unique. They all have a bit of a backstory, and I think the game could have focused on explaining the backstories a little bit better, but it does have the story mode where it explains what the characters are going through in small detail. And I guess, which is also nice because that doesn't happen too often anymore, you can kind of fill in the blanks yourself. It doesn't spoon feed you the lore, and quite honestly, it doesn't really have to. As fighting games go, like I said, this one's balanced, we have very unique characters, we have a unique setting. Where also that film grain comes in, that is a bit too much, but we'll leave that for where it is. And overall you have something that is unique, and with decades and decades of video games behind us, creating something that is unique is already really tricky. Creating something in a market that hasn't really evolved over the last 2 decades, let's be honest, we haven't seen much change when it comes to fighting games, is also unique. And when I say that, I mean, look at the biggest fighting games of the 90s. It's Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. And what is it these days? It's Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. It hasn't changed. No one has broken through over the last decades, and it's fun to see that these games are still around, but it's also fun to see that there are developers who try to break through and try to do something unique. And Monstroscopy, as a first in the franchise, is really, really, really good. So if you love fighting games, if you like fighting games, if you love the Mexican folklore style, if you love the horror style, you should absolutely give this game a go. It is available on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch, both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, as well as Series X and Xbox One. It's really easy to pick up, so even if you're not very familiar with fighting games, it's not one of the games where you're just gonna get beat to a pulp by the CPU. It's really manageable to just have some fun in, and that's really what games should be about in the end. And overall, it's an indie game. It's not too expensive. Worst case scenario, you lose a couple of bucks supporting a developer trying to do something new in this industry, and that's a reward of its own. But with that being said, if you like fighting games, this one's not the most spectacular, most detailed fighting game, because again, it's aimed towards a bit of simplicity and ease of access, so you can't have it both ways. It is still a very fun game. There are still 16 new characters for fighting game enthusiasts to learn about, and quite honestly, I would hope to succeed to the levels that we are going to see a Monstroscopy 2. And if that comes out, I'll be very inclined to buy it. So what can I say? Do I recommend playing this game? Absolutely. Knock yourself out, or preferably your opponents. So once again, thank you for Keymailer and Seashell Studios for making this review possible. Down in the description you will find a link to every single store, so if you want to give it a try, you can do it so yourself. And of course, thank you for watching. More reviews are coming, so be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.